Ah, okay. You started recording. Okay. All right.
Okay. I'm here with Evelyn Warner. She's been licensed for nearly 30 years. She's working in San Diego architecture firms for 35 plus, and currently she is the Millicon. We're going to be into a lot of acronyms because of the military. So
Yeah.
Millicon, Program Design Manager for the Naval Air Weapons Station China Lake Earthquake Recovery Program. She's been with NAVFAC Southwest, the Navy, for about 10 years, and she started at NAVFAC Southwest with the Naval Hospital Camp Pendleton construction management team for the Navy. And you know, one of the reasons why I asked Evelyn to be in this interview is that she's worked on hospitals. The Navy Hospital for Camp Pendleton was a huge project. As far as I'm concerned, it's a huge project. And I think a lot of other people would agree. And she also has been posting on Facebook, on her personal Facebook. She's been posting every night. She has these great appetizers and dinners and these wonderful wine pairings. So I asked her to be, you know, to also do this. So tonight she's snacking on cheese and crackers with salami and drinking a lovely 2017 Primitivo Red from Altipiano Vineyard and Winery. Welcome, Evelyn. And I'm drinking St. Francis, what is it? 2000, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to put my glasses on to see. 2014 Chardonnay. My friend Neil Peoples actually designed this winery and designed this little thing, and we should be able to, yes, and we wish that he could get
where?
St. Francis, it's in Sonoma County.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is the, they also have, this is the Chardonnay that I'm drinking, though they also have this wonderful Cabernet Franc, which I don't typically drink red. And then people laugh and say, you don't like, I know, they're like, you don't drink red, but you drink Cabernet Franc. And I'm like, well, no, I don't drink red because I typically get a headache. That's the reason why I don't drink red. But
Wow.
this is great. So that's what we're going to be drinking tonight. And so Evelyn, how are you doing?
Good. All things considered.
Yes, you're staying healthy. And
staying healthy. Yes.
And so you're part of the earthquake recovery in China Lake in the Mojave Desert.
Correct.
Current projects. Yeah.
Correct.
And you're working from home then? You're working from home?
Working from home. We're all working from home right now.
Okay.
And venturing into all of the online platforms that we can find or use officially in order to be able to conduct all of our work, which is we meet all the time. So it's just amazing.
Yeah.
To try and do it from home. It'll be really different once we get back into the office. I think it'll change things, the way we do business.
Yeah. Are you at 32nd Street or are you at the other one?
I'm at downtown San Diego, right across from basically across from the cruise ship terminal.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, and then so when you first started working for NAVFAC, which is Navy facilities, which my husband worked at Navy facilities for a while, and then you were working on the Camp Pendleton Hospital.
Yes, correct. I was with the basically the construction management team for the Navy on the hospital. It was an amazing, somewhat unprecedented project in the Navy. It was a hospital, which they never do design build.
Okay.
And in order to be able to use the ARRA money, because it was ARRA money,
Okay.
Within the timeline, because it was a 4-year timeline, they needed to streamline the process. So they did a lot of stuff up front where they were able to adapt a design that I think they used in Bethesda, if
Oh,
I'm
okay.
correct.
Okay.
I wasn't on board for that kind of
Yeah.
preliminary.
Yeah.
But they used that, they adapted it quickly, put out a design build RFP, got a contractor on board. The commander at the time, Whit Robinson, who is now facilities, oh, I'd have to look up his title, but he's up at UCSD,
Okay.
in the top spot in facilities there.
Okay.
But anyways, he came up with a concept for a construction team, or a design and construction support team for the Navy that was phenomenal. He staffed it up with great people. It was an amazing, we were on site, able to work with the contractor on a daily basis. It was amazing. It was really amazing.
And Whit is he went to architecture school, right? He was in the
Yes.
Navy, and then he went to architecture school, and then came back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what were some of I kind of talked to you ahead of time, just as far as, the capacity of the hospitals. And I know that other people, I know people that were on the Camp Pendleton base, they used to have to go all the way down to Balboa in order to give birth.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
So there were quite a few babies that were born along the way, because
Yes, because it was a long
is
drive.
a good 45 minutes north of San Diego, where the other hospital was. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you were in the military, you were having to go all the way down to Balboa, which was in the city of San Diego from Camp Pendleton. And then also kind of what else about the capacity of the hospitals?
Certainly in terms of the Camp Pendleton Hospital, it brought a lot of services into one place that were scattered throughout the community. So people had kind of one place to access. It was a little bit of hospital and a lot of outpatient care. So it's really, really, really different. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say different necessarily for the Navy, but great combination. Great combination of stuff. And they had a whole women's and children's, women's and infants wing, specializing in all that sort of stuff. So they didn't have to head out to south of the county.
Yeah.
From up there.
Yeah. Which on the 805 and the 5 freeway can really get ridiculous. I know that when I went to go see one obstetrician and that was over here at Grossmont, and I thought, like, okay, it's like, you're going to deliver right next door. That'll be perfect because I'm only 5 minutes away from the hospital. Right. No, he was delivering for at Sharp Memorial at Mary Birch. Right. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. This is my 3rd kid, and I don't know when it's gonna come. And I said, and my sister-in-law has 3 kids. I don't want to be on the freeway in a minivan with 5 kids delivering on the side of the freeway. I'm like, so I got another OB/GYN who I still have. He's still my doctor now. Like 19 years later. He's trying to retire, but some of us just won't let him.
No, don't let him. Totally.
Yeah. So, and so what about like the capacities of the hospital as far as like the whole COVID thing and with ventilators, and how people are, have this misconception that there's like a ton of space in a hospital for everybody. And
that's the thing, is they're spending some taxpayer money in some way, any of the hospitals around here, because none of them really, some of them are semi-private or, not for profit or whatever, but they're always spending money like it's theirs, obviously, and so you're not spending a whole lot on extra storage just in case. I mean, it's a fine balance between the, what do we need just in case, and we have to meet our mission now. We have to stay solvent so that we can provide the care that's going on right now. I mean, they can't afford to go out of business just because they've got, a 10-story storage unit because they have, extra stuff just in case.
Yeah.
So it really is, for the poor hospitals, I totally feel for them, they've had to probably balance and now be really creative with what they have. It'd be fascinating to talk to somebody who's working in a hospital right now, which reminds me I should probably call Whit Robinson and say hello.
Yeah. Well, tell him that I said hello, because I met him before.
Oh yeah.
I met him before when he and Steve were together. Yeah, because
Steve is the reason that I'm working for the Navy right now.
Thanks, Evelyn.
He is.
Yeah.
Literally the reason.
Yeah.
Because when I was looking for work, I called him up because I knew him from HMC.
Yeah, from HMC.
And said, "Oh, is anything going on?" And he's like, "Yeah, my boss is setting up a team that's going to work on a hospital. I'll forward your resume over there." And, here I am. So.
And it's great. I think it was a great hospital project. Anybody that's ever going through Camp Pendleton, which is, kind of like the last bastion of open space on the coast, besides like San Luis Obispo or something,
Yes.
Yeah. The hospital that's there on the base, Evelyn was an integral part of. So. And then what about, I know we brought it up before, but wayfinding in hospitals. I've spent a lot of time in hospitals the last few years and, in different care facilities. And I'm like, and I know that we have existing hospitals that then have to add a building to, so connecting those different pieces becomes a complex problem. So what can you say about wayfinding in hospitals?
That it's always a problem. I mean, even in new hospitals, it's always a problem because in order to be able to be efficient, there's a lot of things that need to look repetitive. And once things look repetitive, you have a wayfinding problem. Right?
No, that's a great, that is a great, that's a great
inherently
great concept. Yeah.
And when you get hospitals that are older and they've added on subsequently, it just is outrageous.
Yeah. Grossmont is a mess. I know that they're there and we've used them before, and it's like a hospital and it's close by to us, but I was laughing because of course there's this part, because I was staying overnight in the hospital, right? You have to go from one part of the hospital to the other, and then there's there's a change in the floor, so you have to walk out like a set of stairs in order to get to the new wing, because it's half a floor up or something.
Right.
So in the middle of the night, I'm going into this stair corridor and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get killed in the stair corridor, and they're never going to find me in this tower because it's dark and it's in between the two buildings. And I'm just going to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Yeah, right. No, I agree. I worked at Children's Hospital.
Yes. We've been to Children's too.
They had a wayfinding scheme at one time that I think there probably was a huge amount of thought and effort that went into it. And all of the images were kind of Andy Warhol looking images I don't know if they have them there now or not, but there was supposed to be some way you could connect yourself with, I was here, I need to go there, I need to go
Yeah.
there. You follow the teddy bear in the pictures or something. I'm not
Oh, okay.
exactly,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
exactly, but it,
Yeah.
God, God bless the professional who came up with it. But unfortunately, I think Children's Hospital kind of lost the history on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nobody knew how it worked.
Yeah.
So they couldn't really explain it. So what they ended up having to do is at their front entrances, they had volunteers that would help you get places,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah, because like
You
I
know,
said before, yeah, here you are in this dire situation, and all of a sudden you have to try to find your way through the hospital of like finding things. And I know, well, one of our children had an MRI done at the hospital, right? But the MRI at Children's Hospital was in the other part, right? They shared an
yes, in
MRI
between.
in
Yep,
between
sharp.
the two, in
Yep,
between Sharp
for sure.
and Children's. And at first, like I said, why do we have to go so far away? And they're like, oh, because it's the MRI in the middle between the two
Yep,
hospitals. So you had to go
yep.
down, and of course you're
Huge
not going
corridors.
outside.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not
yeah.
going outside, but you're going down all of these hallways. And I can
Corridors.
remember one time one of my kids had an EEG, and it was that we were walking down the driveway in order to get to the EEG. Right? We're parked in the parking structure, go into the main, go into like the main kind of
Yeah,
information counter,
right.
and then they're like, oh yeah, you go outside and down
Walk
the
down the parking
road.
lot.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, watch out for the service vehicles and everything in order to get down into this one area that was like down,
yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I mean, having worked at hospitals, I worked at Children's, I worked at Palomar,
yeah, yeah,
and I so appreciate the constraints that they're under,
hmm
but a lot of times somebody has this woo concept and, um, doesn't
yeah,
always work the best.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I'm, that is one of my big, huge bugaboo's with hospitals is wayfinding.
yeah. Well, I
Best
think that
to make the hospital the wayfinding,
yes, exactly,
right?
right. Make the hospital
Make
the
the hospital.
wayfinding.
Yep,
Yes, yes.
yep,
So I mean,
yep.
I know that
Clear,
you know
simple.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I know people want to get crazy with all these plans and these radio plans in a hospital have to be the worst. I mean, I'll put it out there. It's the worst spot because you don't know where you are. You need to have it clear and straightforward.
Yep, yep,
These
yeah.
great design gestures are not helping people in a hospital. It's
Yeah.
like, where's the entrance? Where's the ER? Which is like one of the
Yes.
most important things to find, because if you're called
Right.
in the middle of the night and you need to go to the ER, you want to know, where am I
Where
going
it
with my
is.
car? How can I get,
Yep.
how can I
Right.
drop off my car there, go into the ER, that is the thing. And then all of those um
Yep.
other ways to get into the hospital as far as going to any of the other sections need to be clear.
Yeah.
And probably shouldn't have, you shouldn't need to have a private tour guide of the hospital.
No,
Yeah. In order
no,
to get there.
that's the crazy part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, thank
So I
God
mean,
for,
it's nice. I mean, it gives
loving little
volunteers
old
something to
guys.
do, but still, yeah, it's still, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be. We should be doing a better job. We should be
Yes.
doing a better job as architects. Maybe, and
Agreed.
more facilitation between the hospital staff and nurses and the people that are
Yes.
working and
Hmm.
the
Right.
doctors, like, and then as far as like what, and the architects, there should be some type
Yep.
of, yeah, there should be
Yeah.
some type of facilitator in between those two. I'd be
Right.
more than happy to be that facilitator if anybody.
Yes. And, consider the patients a user group, right?
Yes, yes. Okay.
I mean, and they are.
Yeah. Okay,
Right?
so what are your first recollections of experiencing architecture?
Oh, the what I remember and I think this is probably what inspired me, was there were homes being built over in Rancho Bernardo. And I had a friend who lived over nearby, and we just happened to be kids out and about, and we were climbing around in these buildings that were being constructed. And I was fascinated by the, I guess, construction, or all of that. I just remember going, wow, this is really cool. And they were just tract homes, you know, I mean, but it was, I just was something I hadn't experienced before. So that's really kind of the first thing I remember is inspiring me, mundane as it is. But
I mean, I
I
don't
think
think that's mundane. I mean, it kind of is really, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, we look back at it and think of it as being mundane, but it's like, really, it's just, I mean, it's, I think, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where people are like, oh, wow, you're an architect. I always wanted to be an architect. And, you know, it's like, I look at things and I'm like, oh, you know, and they seem like totally fascinated. And then I think the further that we get along, right, you know, like you talking about like, oh, it's a hospital that I designed, you know, it's like a hospital that I worked on. It's not a big deal, but you know, I mean, it is a big deal. You know,
no, it's true. It's true. But I was just, you know, it's just like, it wasn't, you know, I walked into a cathedral somewhere, or I, you know, something like that. It was just, I was inspired because I probably had just never thought about the raw guts of a building before, maybe, or something like that. And it captured me.
Yeah. And I always think, you know, it's like, you know, even with our addition, you know, it's like, I always think like, oh, do we have to put drywall on top of it? You know, not that I don't like, you know, because I like looking at the studs. Like, probably I would
go talk to Frank Gehry, right?
Yes, you know, I would live in a Frank Gehry house, because I always say like, oh, do we have to cover everything up now? You know, it's like they sheathe, you know, it's like, I like just like all the light that you're getting through the studs, and you know, and then I'm like, oh, do we have to put a roof on it? Do we have to put the you know, do we have to put the sheathing up around it? You know, you know, I'd rather just like have it all open or something.
Yes. No, true.
Yeah. But of course, my contractor laughs because I always like, he does really good pour in place concrete. And I always say like, oh my gosh, I just want you to do like, I want you to do a poured in place concrete house for me someday. And he like looks at me like I'm crazy, but he does say about, you know, I'm like, oh, do we have to cover it up? And he goes, yeah, some of our best work is covered up. Like, our best work is covered up. Yeah.
It's too bad. Yep.
So what are your 3 classic buildings?
Oh dear. My 3 classic buildings. Well, I have to, the first thing I thought of when I did that was an Irving Gill building.
Yeah.
I have to shout out to Irving Gill.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I'll just pick the La Jolla Women's Club.
Yeah. No, that's perfect, because nobody's done a Gill building, I don't think. I don't think anybody, out of 27 interviews, I don't think anybody said anything about an Irving Gill building.
Oh my God, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's just the best.
Yeah.
He understands here and the vernacular and making it absolutely classic and simple. I mean, mind blown, you know, with the Irving Gill stuff.
And I think that there's probably more of his stuff out there that we just don't know, because he got rid of all of the drawings for his office, so there are no records of all of the buildings that he did. In fact, I saw
Right.
one the other day that was right off of, it was off of Washington in San Diego, and I like could see it driving down Washington, and I looked over and I was like, I wonder if that's an Irving Gill building. So
Yeah.
I got off of the road, and like we went up the side of it, and like my boys were in the car. They're like, "What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What
Yeah.
are you doing?" I'm like,
Totally.
I know. I'm like, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this. And then we have this person that I'm on the planning commission with, who's Jim Newland, who's he does all of the history. He's the state historian for all the the California state parks. So I've like, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to ask him about that, if he knows anything about that one house, because typically I can say like, hey, what about like this house, and he'll know about it. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. Like, I really like Gill's buildings. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
They're just classic. I mean, it really is. So Washington, huh? Cool. I'll have to go drive down there.
I know, you have to drive down there. It's one street to the north of Washington. Yeah, to the north of Washington. So you'll kind of see it when you're coming down from Hillcrest, and then it's like one street to the north that kind of like runs down. It's like a short street because of all the hills there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it
Cool.
looks like, but you can see the arches. And so that's kind of what I was like, thinking.
Yeah.
I wonder if anytime I see any of those round arches, which of course, did you, oh my gosh, I wonder if I've ever said this. We met Marvin Rand one time, the architectural photographer. We were on a tour. We were on a tour up in Santa Monica when we lived in Venice Beach, and we were on this this AIA tour that they had of like the West Side, and we were standing outside of the apartments that he did right there in Santa Monica, close to the ocean. Yeah. So he had done, Irving Gill had done these apartments, and so we were standing outside of there because it was on the tour. And then this guy rides up, this little old man with big black glasses and a white T-shirt and black pants, rides up on a beach cruiser, and he starts talking to us. And Steve knew who he was.
Yeah.
And Steve's like, yeah, that's Marvin Rand. And I'm like, what? He goes,
my God.
Architectural photographer who was still doing, he was still practicing like really like late into life. Like he did, he did, he was photographing things for a lot of people on, a lot of architects, like even of my generation. Like he photographed a lot of stuff for Angela Brooks and Lawrence Scarpa. He photographed their house.
Wow.
And his thing, it was funny because Angie just gave me the thing, because their son is going to architecture school now, and in the architectural history class, one of the buildings that they pulled up was his own house. So he's in this architectural history class, and he sees his own house go up, and their house was photographed by Marvin Rand. And,
oh my God.
And Angie was telling me at the Monterey Design Conference, she said, yeah, we asked, typically Marvin doesn't want any people in any of his photographs. And she said, like, can you just get a picture of my son and I in our house? And he said, well, I never get, the only people that I put in my picture are models. Models. Those are the only people that I put in my photographs. And she's like, oh my gosh, can you just get this one picture? Can you just get this one picture? And that's the picture. It's like her and her son that are in the photograph that is in most of the things. So here, their son is in this architectural history class. He sees this photograph of their own house. And like he's in the photo, he's in the photograph.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so Marvin said to Angie, he goes, okay, he goes, I'll take the picture. He goes, he goes, first I'm going to take the good picture, and then I'll take the picture of you.
Picture of you guys. Yeah.
But the one that's
Thanks a lot.
public,
Right.
yeah, the one that's most
Yes.
publicized is the one of the two,
Yeah.
the one that she asked him, that she begged him
Yes.
to do. So
He
yeah.
begged him to do.
So anyway, so what he said to us during this is he said to our other friend John Hall, and I and Steve and I, he said, do you know, he goes, well, he proceeded to tell us all about Irving Gill and the
Yeah.
Irving Gill. So, and he said, well, do you know how Irving Gill constructed the arches? And our friend John Hall said, like, how did he do it? And Steve and I didn't say anything. And he said, with a compass. And, and our friend John Hall from Dallas was like, I know that. He goes, of course with the compass. Like, I thought you were going to give us some, like,
soliloquy on how he,
exactly,
structurally, figured it out.
Yeah. So every time I see like a Gill project, or that was like our big joke. It's like, how he constructed, how Gill constructed the arches with yeah. So what's your next classic building? The La Jolla Women's Club, right? La
Jolla Women's Club, Irving Gill.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had to go with and I was looking this up, but I think it's called the Prairie Chicken. I think it's by Bruce Goff.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Bruce Goff. I think it's called the Prairie Chicken. I meant to look it up, but
okay. Look, so is it in Oklahoma?
I would have to look that up actually to see, but
okay,
I didn't get a chance.
That's okay. So what do you like about it?
The thing I liked about Bruce Goff's stuff was that it was exuberant and whimsical. It's like almost the exact opposite of Irving Gill, which is really weird, but it just was it's like a James Hubble. It's
but more
whimsical and creative and textural and all those sorts of things, which I really just I know this is like not necessarily a classic, but to me it kind of is a classic sort of style. It's that it sort of stems a little bit from a Frank Lloyd Wright kind of side of things, off to the craziness of Bruce Goff and
so what is it,
that kind of ilk.
So it was
that's a San Diego State
okay, in Norman, Oklahoma.
Norman, Oklahoma. There you go. Prairie Chicken. Yep.
Oh, he was a student of Bruce Goff at the University of Oklahoma. Yeah, I've been to, to Norman, Oklahoma. We've been, believe it or not, but we did not see that building there.
Oh, I think it's a house. I think it's a house.
No, we just saw the campus. We saw the campus. Steve's brother was getting his master's his PhD. He was getting his PhD in English at the University of Oklahoma at Norman.
Wow.
That's why we were there. That's why we were there.
Got it.
They do have a great museum there also at the university.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So, and then what's the third one?
The third one's let's see. I think I decided on the Ennis Brown house up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to pick a Frank Lloyd Wright, but I went on a tour there before they, shut down tours or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it, you know, his whole thought process about how you enter things and how you experience space and buildings and whatnot was just amazing. And it's I guess, you know, all of that, considering the outdoors and indoor space
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the relationship between the two and all of that is just kind of my thing.
That's one of my favorite Frank Lloyd Wright houses, and not that many people
Yeah.
have been in it, but we actually were able to tour it in my in 1988.
Uh-huh.
19 in 1988 we went on a tour with oh my gosh, I forget. He was the architectural critic for the LA Times. I think that
Oh, wow.
he had been at that time, or maybe he was like most recently was, and now it's killing me that I can't remember his name. But it's Sam. I forget. Sam Hall Kaplan. That's who it is. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's Sam Hall Kaplan, and then it was the head of our architecture department, who was Alan
Wow.
Forrest, and we were in a thesis group, so there were probably only like 6 to 8 of us. And
Mm.
so Sam Hall Kaplan said that he wanted to take us around to see all of his favorite buildings in Los Angeles, and we actually got a tour.
Cool.
We actually got a tour from Mr. Brown, right? Or was it Mr. Ennis?
Wow.
He lived in that. So this is 1988. And so he gave
Oh
us
my
the
God.
tour. Yeah. He gave us the tour of the house.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And so, he let us take whatever photographs we want to do. But of course, this is like before digital. So
Yeah, right.
I have like
You
two,
have
and
negatives
I had
somewhere.
black and white film.
Yes.
I did black and white film with a
Wow.
Nikon FG, and I'll post
Oh,
them for your for yours, that is
nice.
an example. Do you have photos? And then did you take photos?
I don't think I did. I don't think we were on a
Okay.
tour where we were able to do that.
Yeah, okay. So we were like, we
Wow.
got free reign, like we could walk wherever we wanted to. And that, he took us
Wow.
around. He took us around and kind
Yeah.
of explained the whole thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, so yeah, so I was like, yeah, but that was
That's
like in
cool.
1988, right? That's like a million
Yeah,
years ago.
I
So,
I
yeah.
probably was there in the maybe early 90s,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
on a maybe
Around the same time.
historical tour
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something, if I recall correctly. My mom and I went,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah. So I'll post those.
You know.
They're black and white photographs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
that'd
not
be
that.
really cool.
Yeah, it's one of the dining room, and then another of just the window, but you can look out onto the area around there, and you can kind of see like the Spanish style houses that are kind of scattered along, and
Yeah,
then a little bit
that
of
whole
LA
village
in
area.
the
Yeah.
background. And yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
that's,
really cool.
yeah, I think that's real, that, of the textile block houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I it's one of his local buildings,
Yeah.
obviously, that I've been in. I mean, the Hollyhock House and all that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
um, I just it was enthralling.
Yeah. 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 I think a lot of it, and it kind of reminds me, um, of those. Yeah. And, I said this before, that I was not into Frank Lloyd Wright when I was growing up,
Yeah.
even though I grew up around, like, I grew up in southwestern Pennsylvania. So you would
Oh
think that,
gosh,
like,
yeah.
somebody would have taken me to see Falling Water, but nobody ever
Right.
did.
Huh.
Nobody ever did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really strange, because my parents were, kind of into the arts. Like, we did go to the museums and a lot of the things in downtown Pittsburgh, because, we had the Carnegie Museum that was like at our
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we had like incredible museums, and then to move to
Yeah.
like the West Coast, and you're like, what? And I was like, what? Where's the
Right.
museum? Like, are you kidding? Right? We like are going from like Pittsburgh to San Diego, and like I'm like, what? We have way
Yeah.
better,
Right.
And then people take me to see like these tiny museums, right? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
what do you, right? Like, we're going to see the museum in Balboa Park for the thing, like, and then they're like, oh, I'm like, where are the dinosaurs, right? We had
Yeah.
dinosaurs.
Right.
We had all of the bone. We had like one of the most extensive dinosaur
Yeah.
collections in the world
Mhm.
at
Yeah.
the museum, the
Pittsburgh.
Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, what? Like, where? Like, you don't have any, Museum of
Well,
Natural History. I'm
those
like, what? Where's
those Carnegies, we
I
didn't
know
have any of those out
Carnegie's.
here. We got Packard and who else we got? Hewlett Packard. Who else? Stanford. That sort of stuff. But we don't have Carnegies for sure.
Well, the Carnegie, they just felt more guilty.
Yes. Right.
They felt more guilty about their wealth than they gave us the
Totally.
libraries and the museums.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so
Oh my gosh.
so what do you like about being an architect?
Oh. I guess I've always been drawn to the sort of problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why what I really like, early in my career, I ended up being funneled into the healthcare side.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a firm that did commercial or you did healthcare.
Uh-huh.
And I ended up in the healthcare side. And it really appealed to me because there was lots of problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
puzzles, problem solving, things that needed to be worked out physically. And I guess that's what appealed to me, when you had more constraints as opposed to fewer constraints.
Uh-huh.
That's where my creative side was, I guess, when I had the more of the constraints. But I also, what really appealed to me, certainly for healthcare, and probably along in my sort of the beginnings of my inklings of going into architecture, was affecting people's lives.
Uh-huh.
Physically, personally, health-wise. I mean, when I got into healthcare, I started going to I went to the first like national healthcare symposium,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just amazing, the inspiration there about changing people's healthcare outcomes and their lives through architecture.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that's what I really was inspired with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that applies across the board in architecture, that what we do affects people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that has always inspired me, whether you're in a house or you're in a hospital.
Yeah.
You're being affected by your surroundings.
Yes.
It's either affecting you well, or it's being a detriment. And that's always been my inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's such a difference between, because we've stayed in a lot of different rooms. I've stayed in a lot of different rooms in the hospital.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
yeah. And there's like so much more that, they have the bigger rooms, right? And it is more space in the room, but they've shown that if you have, if the room is, if your environment is nicer, if the room is bigger, it's like not only is the family able to stay in the room, and that's and that's better for the
Huge.
patient. Yes, it's huge.
Yep.
But also
Yep.
the people that are working in that room, when they don't have to work in these tight surroundings, bringing in all of the equipment, and they have more space, you know, and they're in a better environment, they're happier too.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
No, I agree.
You know,
I
and
agree.
the amount of natural light that comes into the newer, you know, hospital rooms as
Oh,
opposed to
yeah.
the smaller ones, you know,
Mhm.
it just, and more use
Yep.
of, you know, natural materials, which,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's funny because way back in the beginning, there were kind of these, I kind of call them duh moments, you know, where it's like, oh, you think a view of nature is better than a view of a brick wall? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, because our systems only work on data,
Mm-hmm.
they ended up having to kind of create a lot of scientific data to support the duh stuff,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
No, absolutely.
um
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Because
know,
they, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like bigger rooms, natural light, having your
Yeah.
family available,
Yeah.
duh. But you know, somebody had to really do a study to create this. And oh gosh, I forget who the guy was from Anshin and Allen. Holy cow, how did I pull that name? Wow. They did this whole, you know, hospital of the future kind of a thing that was based on
Mm-hmm.
all of this data. And it was like, yeah, it's all this does stuff,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, our
know.
intuitive moments of why
Oh,
we
yeah.
would want, yeah, of why we
Right.
would want, but
Right.
then like, oh, well, what's your backup
What's
for
your
it?
backup?
You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh
Well,
my gosh, we have to come up with backup for like
yeah.
natural light. I mean,
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Corporations only pay for data,
yeah.
you know. So, okay, we'll do it. But, you know,
Yeah, we'll
duh.
do it. We'll do
Yeah.
it.
So,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. I do. Yeah. I liked what my doctor said for my third kid, right? I had a doctor up in Santa Monica for the first two, which I thought, you know, Santa Monica, you know, it's forward thinking and everything. He was totally against anything that I wanted to do. He just wanted, you
yeah.
know, it's like if he could have physically knocked me out, he probably would have, right? But it's like back to the old days, right? Like
Right.
fill them full of drugs and they wake up, you know,
Yes.
several hours later.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And
Yeah.
you know, and then by the third, you know, and so, you know, like, okay, you're not gonna, you know, it's like I don't want you to gain any weight. Da, da, da. You know, by the time when I came down here and I had the other, right, he told me I could gain 25 pounds. Luckily, the nurse she miscalculated. So it's like they thought that I'd only gained 35 pounds and I'd probably gained close to 50, which, you know, which I'm almost 5'8", right? So it's like really,
Right.
I was probably just like a little,
Fine.
maybe, you know, bigger than average, but considering, you know, and the thing is that I
Yeah.
kept saying like, I was a big baby. I mean, I was 8
Yeah.
pounds, 4 ounces, right? And they're like, well, that doesn't mean that you're going to have a big baby, right? We just, you
Why
know,
not?
no,
Yeah.
we're not.
Right.
Yeah, we're, you know,
Yeah.
watch how much you know, so I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to listen. But by the
Yeah.
time I had the third kid, this
Yeah.
doctor said, I'm not going to tell a woman that had 2 other kids how she's going to give birth,
Right.
how she's going to be pregnant and give birth
Exactly.
to the third one. He goes, I just totally stay out of it. The only
Yeah.
thing was the cutting the cord, right? Because
Oh.
Steve had not cut the cord for the other 2 kids. And
Yeah.
this third doctor, no, he said, no, Steve's thing was, what are we paying them to do if we don't have them cut the cord? So he didn't do it. So with the third kid,
Yeah.
you know, my doctor's like, oh yeah, you know, he's gonna have to cut the cord because he goes, I don't cut anybody's cord. I don't cut anybody's cord. The father or whoever's there, the other person they have to cut the cord. And I'm like, I don't know. He doesn't want to cut the cord. He goes, I don't give him an option. So I didn't even tell him until he was in the room. The doctor, like, he had like, okay, here you go. Here you go.
what? Yeah.
And he had to do it. And he had to
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
Then he went into this whole thing about, well, it's not really fair because then the third kid is going to have, the third
Oh
kid's
yeah.
going to have the
Right.
cord cut, but the other two,
Uh-huh.
didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, yeah. Afterwards, I said, no,
Like,
don't
you
worry
have to
about it.
tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Until they're listening right now, they didn't
Yes, right.
know.
You
And they
don't
never
know. Yeah.
listen to my podcast anyway, so it doesn't
Right.
matter. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the problem solving, and then what would you like to
Yes.
say about the future of architecture?
Oh, wow.
I know it's kind of a heavy question, but you can do with it what you want. Yeah.
It truly, I mean, frankly, in the last 5 years, I haven't had a chance to put my head up and think about the future,
Uh-huh.
but it's a little well, ever since the advent of the computer,
Uh-huh.
I've found I've been more nervous about the future.
Okay.
I'm a little old-fashioned because I've struck both sides of
Hmm.
the profession, I guess, where it was all hand or it's all computer. And I know there's lots of we have the availability of lots of powerful ways of doing our business,
Hmm.
but I still feel we've become disconnected from it in a physical way,
Yeah.
where when I feel old when I say this,
No.
but when I was drafting
Hmm.
by hand, me personally, I knew where the building started and stopped. I knew where it turned. I knew where it ended. I knew I had to think about 3 dimensions and how it was working and all that sort of stuff. I didn't just either let the computer think about it or not think about it and have problems later. I just feel that the lack of connection with the screen
Hmm.
is more physical and tangible, and that's a bit of what I worry about.
Hmm. Yeah.
We're teleworking right now. I actually physically do not, unless I go down to my office with a mask and I have to pass guards and say, yes, I'm good with my temperature and all that sort of stuff. I can't even print. So I can't even see a printed copy of stuff,
Hmm.
which I personally still feel like I need that
Yeah. Oh yeah.
to be able to see the whole, if you used to be able to get, you know, a, a whole building or a quarter of a building or whatever on your board, and you
Hmm.
could see it and you could go up close and go far away and still have that perspective.
Yeah.
But now I don't know, it's different for me. And maybe people who've grown up with it, it's perfectly fine and they are able to connect with it and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like there's something lacking without that tangible
Yeah.
physical
I mean,
aspect.
I agree, but it's like I don't draft in CAD. So then that's kind of been that people have said to me, like, well, that's because you don't draft. Like, you're biased towards hand drafting. I said, no. I said, I've seen other things, and I said, it's not
I've
like I
done both.
haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, it's not like I haven't been able to go. I mean, I've gone into drawings and been able to, like, you know, look at things and, you know, but I mean, it is kind of that I totally agree with most of what you said. but I mean, if not all, but I think it's that picture of the pieces to the whole, and you know that like if they're looking at one micro view, that they're not looking at the macro view,
right?
And how everything connects to everything else. And then if you're getting so detailed about this, right, it's that you're not seeing the whole picture, right? So it's like it's like doing like, okay, well, we put these great, you know, as far as like wayfinding, right? We put these great signs on the building and they're like this, and but it's like, oh, but they're the wrong scale. Like nobody can read them when they're this small.
Exactly.
You know? Nobody can read them when, you know, did you know that they were only going to be this big? And I see this
big,
with city stuff all the time, right? Because I mean, I'm a planning commissioner, but then like, you know, they'll say in like city facility, like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this monument, and then they do the monument, and then like the things on the monument are like this small, and I'm like, how were you supposed to see that going by it at like 55 miles an hour?
Right, exactly.
I said,
well, we could see it in the CAD. We could see it in the computer. It was perfectly clear.
Yeah, I said, did you not like see? Or we went the other night to the park. And we see, and I said, what is on? And it's dark, right? Because we're at the park at night. We don't want anybody to know that we're out. But anyway, even though we are allowed to walk in parks, that is allowed. People just are like, oh my God, you're going outside of your house? I'm like, you're allowed to go outside of your house. Like, what are you in your house for, like, you know, for like 2 months? I mean, you've only been out like 6 days. I said, if I only went out 6 days, we'd starve to death. We would have starved to death if we didn't go out of our house, because my boys would have eaten everything and we would have been drinking water. That's it. That's all we would have left on the floor. But
so true.
But there was this tiny, I said, what is on the handrail over there? And we went over, and John got out his flashlight and looked.
Yeah.
And they were the directions for social distancing, everything in the park. And they were 8.5 by 11 laminated sheets, zip tied to the handrail. And I was like, who would ever see this in a million years?
Really?
Like, zip tied to the handrail, you know. But I mean,
oh my God.
But it's like the sense of scale and how people are actually using space. I think that when people, you know, when you like say, okay, you're looking at it on this screen, and it's like but
it's not even your board, and you've got there's no scale on a screen. There's no scale on a screen. I guess maybe that's it. Even on a board, you had scale. Well, it was this big, or it was this big, or it was this big, you know. So I don't know. I like I said, I feel old when I say that stuff, and I feel like I'm, you know, this old person, you know, shaking my finger at those young people and whippersnappers. But I do feel like there's like a
daughter, right? How old is your daughter now?
21.
Yeah, see, I mean, you know, we're not so out of touch with what they're talking about that we don't know, right? It's
no, it's just I think there's gonna be some implications for moving this direction that I'm not sure what they are, but I'm pretty sure we're just gonna be disconnected a little bit more. That's all. We're just disconnected from what we do.
And I mean, you know, maybe this whole thing will bring people more into that, you know, right, to get them off of, even though we still feel like we're virtually connected, but maybe they'll understand the importance of being with people, and actually right. Yes, of having, you know, wanting to be with people, of not being connected on the screen. You know, right? Like, I know Evelyn isn't like this small on a screen.
I know, exactly.
that she's a physical
No,
person that I could see next to me, you know.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
what is that? Absence makes the
The
heart go
heart grow
fonder,
fonder.
or, I
Yeah.
mean, it might be just a little bit more of an appreciation of actually the
Yeah.
physical contact that we have that we took for granted
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
before pre-C,
Yeah.
we should say, you know. Um
Yeah. Yeah.
PC. No, it's not
Yeah.
BC, it's not AD, it's not CE or whatever
Yeah.
the thing is. It's like PC, pre-COVID,
Pre-COVID.
you know. Um
Pre-COVID.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
totally appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else that you wanted to say?
Oh my goodness. Probably not. Just I have to turn a light on.
I know.
It's dark.
It's starting to get dark. Well, Evelyn, I thank you so much for doing this. It was a great interview, and I appreciate,
No,
I always appreciate that people, and I'm
thank
glad that you weren't you weren't scared off by my questions. I think maybe a lot of people were scared off that I'm going to ask these like kind of esoteric questions, but I just really do it because I want to get to know I want I know you, but I want other people to realize that, that there is another side to architects besides the typical arca speak that we usually
right.
do. Yeah. Yeah. That's like
Yeah.
kind of esoteric, and we'll kind of bring people more into kind of understanding about architects and architecture and the importance of
Yeah.
architecture. And
Awesome.
yeah. Okay, thank you
Great.
so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.